What's going on, guys? Welcome into Octagon Chronicles, episode number 7. Very special guest in the building tonight. It's been amazing just doing these episodes every single week, having these guys in studio and talking to them. Blake, unfortunately, is producing AES tonight, almost entirely sports, so he's not going to be able to join us, but still in the Octagon Chronicles. But instead, producer Micah, you're putting on
Let's go.
You're putting on your interview pants.
Yes, sir.
How do those pants feel?
Well, I just did what any good fighter would do, Short notice, they need a guy to step in. I'm their guy. And I wasn't going to leave my boy over here hanging,
Ginger's always there to step up. Let's
Gotta
go. We
have another
replaced
ginger
one
in here.
Ginger with the other one. We could have had the trifecta.
Could've.
But
That's too
we'll
dangerous.
deal with 2 today.
That's too dangerous.
And then shout out to producer Darcy. Mean Darce choke on that guy. I'm telling you, like he's pretty nasty with
Squeeze.
it. And he won't tell you. He's very humble with it. And well, that brings me to our guest, Ryan Leininger. Man,
What's up, buddy?
I would say, what's up, man? It's fucking awesome having you in here. I would say describe you as like an MMA fan's dream. You're 7-2. You have 7 finishes. None of your fights have really. I don't have any of them gone the distance.
No, I've been out of the first round once.
That's crazy, and like people love to see that and like watch that. Are you? And what that word brings is violence. Are you a violent fighter? Does that word like embody you think, as a fighter?
I don't look at myself as a violent fighter. When I think of violence, I think of someone like Mikey England.
Okay, yeah.
Someone who like puts that face on and really wants to go in there to hurt you. Yeah, I'm not really that type of fighter. I think that I'm just constantly in there looking for the finish. I think I have a knack for finding the finish, and sometimes it's gotten me in trouble. Those 2 losses, I did get finished within like a minute both times, I think. So I think sometimes that's could be my downfall a little bit. I need to be a little bit more patient and maybe draw it out a little bit, because I know my cardio is good. I know I have the gas to go 3 rounds, and I do tend to get better as fights go on. But yeah, it's been all said and done with one.
So
that's awesome.
To do like something that fighters do, which is pretty crazy. When does that like switch flip for you? Whenever you're walking to the octagon, or when do you flip that switch where you're like, all right, I gotta go punish this dude?
Oh, probably a fight before. The fight before is when I really start to like talk to myself and get myself ready. So I'm always nervous. I'm always the most nervous when it's like when the fights start and I'm back in the locker room. And one thing I don't like to do is, I'm used to fighting on Dynasty, and I'm always fighting on cards where I have guys that I've trained with and coached in Omaha. And so one thing I don't like to do is, to be honest with you, is watch everyone that I know fight. I like to see everybody win, but when people lose or someone gets knocked out that I know, I can
Thoughts
like
start creeping a little
personally, it starts messing with me a little bit. So the last couple fights, I've kind of just stayed in the back. I'll go out every now and then because I do like to visualize. I want to be out there with the crowd out and the noise and everything, and see the cage and the lights before I go out there, so it's not a super big shock. But man, I have enough fights to where like I know how it's gonna be. I know how I'm gonna feel when I walk out there. But to answer your question, probably the fight before mine, I really start talking to myself and like trying to flip that switch to where I'm here for a reason. We're not gonna turn away now, as nervous as I am, so let's do it.
And does that kind of just go away after you kind of take your first shot? You get hit for the first time, and it kind of goes away, or
it goes away when you're when you're next up. It's everything starts to kind of go blank. Yeah, when you're walking out and eyes are on you, I guess, or for me personally, once eyes get on me, or I feel like eyes are on me, then I flip it. Then it's kind of just I'm going with the flow.
It's like got to be a crazy experience. I know, like guys, most people will never experience that in their life, just like walking out and putting everything on the line for this amazing sport, and that's why I love it so much.
But it's amazing. And coming from someone who did a lot of other sports, I mean, I played football and basketball and track and baseball and did all that stuff, and there's nothing like fighting.
You're like, what?
No feeling like
How
it.
tall are you?
I was 6'3".
6'3"? You have like some Nike Elite stuff on. You look like a hooper
too. I know, right? Yeah, I was a baller, dude. I was balling. One of my nicknames was White Mamba in high school. I had all kinds of nicknames. My nickname now is Canelito.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I stuck with it because I'm like, you know what? As I progressed through the years, I had some pretty bad frickin' nicknames. And this is the one that is like, you know what? I can deal with Canelito because Canelo's a badass motherfucker. And if I can be mentioned this, the same name as him, I'm like, all right, we're sticking with that one. But I had like Scalabrini, White Mamba, freaking
of course.
Ronald McDonald, Custodian, Clifford,
Hey,
I'm
Scalabrini's
you
got
some
rings,
good-
bro.
I'm sure you got some good shit too.
Oh, absolutely, bro. I
So-
was
You
in
guys are
middle
all-
school during the Gingers Have Souls phase, bro. Come on now.
Ah,
I've seen some shit.
South Park, baby.
Yeah.
It's a great era.
Yeah.
You know.
Since you did play a lot of sports, though, is there like anything that you take from other sports that kind of helps emulate your fighting style?
Probably just dealing with the pressure, not much really like I don't even really look at MMA as a sport, to be honest with you. Like I do. It is a sport, but when you're out there, it just feels like a fight.
You see, like,
it's
more
mean.
primal?
It's more primal. It doesn't feel like, all right, let's go by the rules here. It's different in that aspect. Like someone's trying to take your head off. So football, it was like pressure, because I was a quarterback in football, and sometimes people throw this under the rug, like just taking a snap sometimes with
Hard.
freaking 11 people over trying to
They're all looking at you.
look at you, mess you up. Like sometimes I fumbled a snap a couple
yeah.
times when I was a quarterback. The first couple of years I started doing it, and to go from there to now I'm walking out and with crowds of people and fighting in front of people is kind of crazy. There's nothing like it.
Yeah,
So-
let's talk about Dynasty combat sports. How that's probably the premier organization in Nebraska. We mentioned it. How have they treated you? What's your relationship like with DCS and they've had guys like Dakota Cochran fight. You've headlined how many shows for them?
Oh, multiple.
Multiple?
Yeah, probably 3 or 4 at least.
What's your relationship with DCS?
Yeah, they managed by DC. So Train is my manager. Yeah, they've got me up to this point. So I fought my whole amateur and within a few fights. I guess I fought LFA a couple times.
Mhm.
I fought, but 80-90% of my 22-24 MMA fights have been through Dynasty. So yeah, they've set me up for
I don't
sure.
think 24 MMA fights. I don't think Tapology goes back
Mhm.
that much.
I actually just had my first fight like 3 or 4 years ago. I was 8-5 as an amateur, and then now I'm 7-2 as a pro. And then I probably have another 15-20 boxing fights on top of that.
What?
And then like 3 or 4 kickboxing fights, few jiu-jitsu matches.
And you've got 3 knockouts, 4 submissions.
As a pro, yeah.
As a pro,
Mhm.
what's the best part of your game, you think?
I'm definitely a striker.
Yeah.
I'm definitely a striker. Ever since I came up to Glory into Kansas City, I've been really, really working on my grappling because that was the hole I saw in my game. Like I said, I started off boxing. For the first year, I was really only boxing. I was at an MMA gym, but I was working with my friend and boxing coach, Jose Campos, and I just had probably 10 to 15 boxing fights before I ever got in the cage, so that really helped. But
It's nuts.
yeah, and I did nationals and everything, and for Golden Gloves, I made the national team and did that for a year. So it was a good experience to fight high-level competition there before I transitioned over to MMA. But as soon as I did transition over, I started getting taken down. I had no wrestling. I never wrestled in high school. I was hooping. Elite.
Let's go, baby.
Let's go. I was
course.
hooping. And so wrestling was a big hole in my game, and so I addressed it. And I think the last couple of years I might have gotten a little too far away from my striking. As I look back on it now, I've always worked on my striking, but I kind of threw it to the side big time and started working mainly on my grappling and wrestling, and almost so much to where now I'm not getting submitted anymore, taken down, and now I'm getting TKO'd. So I was like, what the heck? I was TKOing everybody but getting taken down, and now when I'm a better wrestler and grappler now. I really round out my game, and now I'm getting pieced up on the feet and then submitting people.
Yeah, your
So-
top game is really good.
It's
I think,
getting there. Yeah, it's a whole nother it's getting there. It's like the last couple of years, I know I haven't really shown it in my fights. I think that, I cringe when I watch myself. I don't know if anybody else does, but when I watch myself, I'm like, why would I do that? I never do that in training. I'm still trying to, that's why I want to have as many grappling matches as possible, is because I'm used to the competition of throwing hands, and I'm comfortable with that in fights for the most part, but some of those grappling exchanges and wrestling exchanges, it's different, in competition than it is in training, when you can pay a price for something. So I'd like to do this year a lot more grappling competitions on the outside of fighting, but MMA is still going to be my main thing that I do. So
What belt? What belt are you?
I'm blue belt.
Blue belt.
So a lot of my stuff was no gi. I mean, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for a few years. I've hit it heavy probably the last 2, but mainly no gi. So I would like to think that I'm around a purple belt level. But I come from my gym back in Omaha. They have like gi class where we have a couple legit black belt instructors. And they're only going to rank you up if you're doing the gi all the time. And I was doing gi here and there, but I was primarily focused on no gi.
Yeah, it's just more aligned.
I've heard a lot of people that do jiu-jitsu for MMA tend to think that the gi jiu-jitsu actually hinders them more than helps them when it comes to...
I couldn't see it hindering you. Sometimes I'll talk a little shit to people who do gi a lot because I'll call them out for stalling. Like I feel like there's a couple things you can get away with in gi where I'm a good scrambler personally, and in MMA, like in your shirtless and slippery, it's going to be more about scrambles. But in gi, sometimes people with good grip strength or will come in and stall. But I don't think it hinders your game at all. If you can. High-level black belts will tell you if you can break grips and locks and get out of anything in the gi, then you can do it no gi. Yeah. So I somewhat agree with it, but I'm personally no gi. I would much rather do no gi.
Yeah, Mike's got some training experience.
Yeah, a little bit.
The first like major big MMA place that you were at, something I learned about you I think a couple days ago, was Factory X, which is crazy. Like that's one of the biggest and most successful gyms. There's a connection with Glory there too, with like their sister gyms, is I think what Josh Rim called them. But like what was that experience like with Factory X? That's amazing, by the way, that you were out there first. Is that what connected you to Glory, or what was your experience out there? Why there?
It's not what connected me, but it's funny how that turned out. I knew that they were connected with Glory when I was out there, but it was a great experience. I loved it out there. It just didn't happen financially. I had a job set when I went out there. I was going to help a kid that actually got me into MMA, whose name is Austin Stryker. I don't know if you know who that is. But
no. Shout out Austin Stryker, though.
Shout out Austin Stryker. He got me into MMA. He has his own gym over there. It's called Apex Combat Academy, and it's like 5 minutes from Factory X. And he did his own thing. He started his own gym, and I was coaching at the gym. And it wasn't right. I talked to Montoya, and he found out I was coaching there, and he's like, I don't feel right about, you training here and then coaching and, and I get what he was saying there. Yeah. So, I couldn't do that. And then.
But that was your job. Like you had to make money.
Yeah, that was my job. And could I have went and found some job at a, B-dubs out there and made it work? Yeah, but just financially at the time, I just wanted to get back to where I make good money in Omaha. I was making really good money coaching classes and doing what I loved. And then all of a sudden I felt like it was kind of like, I'm going to have to work full time just to train out here. Just wanted to get my shit together, for a little bit. And then I actually moved out here because my ex-girlfriend is in med school, and she is in med school. It was like probably 15 minutes from the gym. So I was living with her, which helped me financially. I didn't have to pay to stay anywhere. That's great. So I was really grateful for that. And then I got a job out here, and now I just moved in with Don.
The Dontourage, baby.
Dontourage and those guys. So I think there's 3-4 of us paying to stay there. It's much more affordable. And then also I did a couple camps out here when my my ex first started in med school, and I was like, and it was something close with a bunch of high level guys, and I just connected with Kraus, even though. That's another story. He like we had that some little fall off happen with us when I first entered the gym, where we kind of got into it a little bit because
what was it?
Just me, when I meet people, I'm kind of dumb sometimes. I'm myself for sure, but sometimes I say shit and people don't know if I'm joking or not.
But like you knew who he was before.
I knew who he was, and I respect the shit out of him. I wouldn't have moved out here if I didn't, and I want him to take over my career, But I think I was out around hanging around Grant and some of the guys, and I was always trying to get rounds with Kraus, and I was like, "Why are you ducking me?" I was always telling me he was ducking me. Just to fuck with him because I wanted to go with him. I didn't think he was actually ducking me. Yeah, and So one day I was going to go do a round with him, and he's like, no, I'm booked today. And I was like, oh, you ducking me again? And he don't take that shit. I found out right away. But, you know, that's just me. And my personality has gotten me into a couple scraps like that at the gym. You know, like I was telling you with David, even he kind of got into it a little bit because I like to talk shit. I like to have fun with it. I don't get emotional really. That's who I am. You know, I like to talk shit and have fun with it because I don't like getting hit. I don't like hitting people. I like the lifestyle of martial artists, but it's kind of my way of settling in. And sometimes people, you know, don't think it's up. And then I've also heard that it's hard sometimes to tell when I'm joking and not, because I have a really stoic face. So sometimes I'll just look at people and be like, "Fuck you looking at?" It's just
comedy,
and you know, like I'm just I think I'm being funny, but people don't know me. It's like if I would have showed up and I was like, "What's up, pussies?" and shook your guys' hand without knowing you. Like I do that stuff though, you know. So I think that's one. It's definitely my fault.
Yeah.
But that's just the way I am. Like until you get to know me and you know I'm joking around and so that's how I showed up and I was set straight right away. So but other than that, it's been great.
How did those rounds go?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he mopped the floor with me for 5 rounds.
I don't think that's anything to be ashamed about.
Because another thing too is when I'm getting pieced up, this is what happens. I keep talking.
Oh dude.
And now everyone's watching at this point. Everyone's like, Ryan, shut the and I don't know when to shut up. I just keep running my mouth. He's like, all right, we'll go today. And I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, I have to be the last one to say something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I just shove looking back at now. I should just be like, all right, and then shut up. But I kept having to talk. And then eventually after the first round, I was like, we going again? And he's like, I'll go all 5 with you, motherfucker. Let's go. And we did. And then, you know, he tapped me.
That's how he sounds, too.
He was tapping me. And he could have fucked me up worse. He was being nice.
I think that's one thing that surprised me about Kraus the first time I was actually able to go and be around him. Josh and I went up there. I was just kind of taking some pictures and videos. And I feel like Kraus as a coach, it's like all about like the kind of like the warrior mindset. Like he's getting you right. Like he's going to treat you how he needs to be treating you. But when it comes to him competing, it's like a whole different guy. Like there was that guy in there. I don't know his name. I don't want to say his name.
Daniel Octagon.
The guy with the squat record, bro. I saw Kraus just riding him like a freaking bull, like pushing his face into the ground, talking a bunch of shit to him. I was just like, damn, dude, Kraus is intense, bro.
That dude is so strong. Kraus is a big time competitor.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. And he'll talk his shit too. That's why I thought I was safe talking some of my shows. You know what? Because I knew before I even met him that he was a shit talker. I've seen him talking shit to people, and I've heard, you know, Derek trained with me out in Omaha. And Derek Minner, and you know, I heard stories about him. So here I come trucking along. I'm like, oh, what's up, pussy? What's that? Like, and you know, I'm the type of guy. I'm gonna learn the hard way. So that's what I did. Let's go.
That's cool that you had that.
It was a good experience
with Kraus. I bet it was. It's like we'll go back to DCS. Do you plan on riding that to the Ultimate Goal UFC DCS?
Plan on riding whatever I have to, man. Whatever gets me there. I think, you know, I might be fighting Dynasty on the next show. I was hoping to I think I might be fighting FAC on May 6th, Joe.
The next one?
Yeah. That's May 6th, right?
Yep.
It's Friday. Yeah, May 6th. So the next one, Joe approached me about it, and I was all for it. Hell yeah. So I'm gonna start trying to sell as many tickets as I can. I haven't gotten an opponent yet.
Seems like a good fit.
But hey, I'm the type of guy, like, if Kraus likes it and my manager likes it to train, then we're doing it.
All you need is a body in there with you.
Yeah. So I mean, I'd get nervous whoever it is. I'd get nervous fighting a guy with a losing record, because then I put pressure on myself. Holy shit.
Well, you're about to go get in a fist fight in your underwear in front of thousands of people. I understand. Well, you might get a little nervous.
If they're with it, I'm with it.
Yeah.
I think, one of my friends texted me, and he was like, hey, I just met Ryan. And he met you at the restaurant, and he's like, you know, he told me he's 2 wins away from the UFC. And is like, and it was really cool that he texted me. He's like, yeah, dude, because he's all about it. And he introduced him to Don, too. And he just loves, like, the MMA lifestyle and stuff, and so he was excited when he met you, and you told him like you're 2 wins away from the UFC. Is that kind of your timeline in your mind, you think?
Yeah, that's what I think. I think so. I think I'm really close. You know, I don't ever really think too far ahead. Of course, I map myself out and I have goals that I try to hit, but I think that if I fight FAC or this fight and maybe once more at the end of the year and get two more finishes and win my next couple fights. I think I'm there. I'm 9-2 with 8 first round finishes, 1 in the second round. And then it's time to call my shot, man. I think it's more for me just about coming out and showing what I can do. I don't feel like I've done that yet. I'm sure a lot of fighters will say the same thing, but I don't think my last 2 fights to me are indicative.
Yeah,
is that the word?
that's the word.
Indicative
Nice.
of what I can do as far as on the mats. So I think it's time to get a little bit of step up in competition for me. And I feel like I'm one of those guys that fights to the level of my competition.
Definitely.
And I train with guys. There's probably 20 UFC fighters at the gym that I go and hold my own against up at Glory. So I know I'm at the level. I know I'm there. I just got to go out and show it. So I'm hoping by next year I'm signed.
What was the biggest difference for you, like moving from kind of like your home gym in Nebraska to a elite, gym with a bunch of active UFC fighters? But what was like the biggest difference for you?
Just environment. I didn't leave. No, I love Premier Combat Center. Premier's where I train. Great coaches. I'll give everything I have is through them. Jose is a great boxing coach. Ryan Jensen, you guys know who Ryan Jensen is. Is the MMA coach down there, and I've learned that.
I probably should know who he is, but
yeah, he's an old style dude. It is so different back then too. I was just talking. We all went out to lunch today and was talking about. I was telling him that Krause reminded me a little bit of him because back in the day it was just like fighting. If you were a fighter, it was like you were violent, like you wanted to fight people, and I just feel like it's not like that anymore. Like it's safe. It's
tactical,
a lot safe. Yeah, it's technical. Like you can pick your way through, and he's just hard nosed is the only way I would describe him. He did everything the hard way. He earned his way there and had some bad breaks in the UFC. I think he had like 8 or 9 UFC fights, but he was fighting guys like Damian Maia and Court McGee.
I mean, it's still just to even get to that point is such an accomplishment.
And he's so good. And I'm telling you right now, after training with guys at Factory X and Glory and the best in the world in different places, that man, he's 40 years old, I think. That dude could fight in the UFC right now and put people away. I'm not kidding. He would like. I've trained with Julian. I train with guys that fight at 170, 185 in the UFC, and I'm telling you right now, if he got his shit together and like got in shape, when that motherfucker's in shape, dude, I hate sparring him. He's so good. Like he belongs there. And being 40, he thinks 42 so old. I'm so old. I'm like, bro. You could kill people.
We had that breaking news today. BKFC and Triller signed. We need to get Ryan Jensen a BKFC fight.
Oh, dude, his name is the Knuckle. That motherfucker's Knuckle. I'm sure you know. Look this guy up.
Let's get him in there.
I'm about to look it up right now. He was the Knuckle was his name. Because he broke his hand.
Like his fight name's the Knuckle.
The Knuckle.
That's hard, bro.
And
that's hard as fuck.
Yeah, like Brian Stan gave it to him. I'm pretty sure. Like Brian Stan just started calling him the Knuckle, and his right knuckle.
He's got a moose knuckle.
He broke his hand. Moose
Knuckle.
I mean, like
dude, that's hard.
It sticks out probably 2 inches.
That's the telltale sign of an elite striker.
On one hand, I'm like, you could literally touch somebody with that thing and bing.
I'm pretty sure Israel Adesanya has a moose knuckle.
I'm
pretty sure he talks about how he has a moose knuckle. Probably.
But on the other hand, the dude's already broken his hands. Told us all his wife had to fucking wipe his ass for this many times, and he don't want to go through that again. Yeah. So and he has his own gym. So so I know that's what we started with. I get off topic. Like I said, I talk so much, man. But. Yeah, I started at Premier, and I didn't leave there because I didn't think I could get better there. I was too hot shit or anything like that. I love the coaches. I could have continued to stay there. I think it was just being around people with the same goal as me, which is to get to the top and have the goal of wanting to be in the UFC and be the best. And when you're in a room like that, it just changes the way you drill, the way, it's just an environment thing. And I'm glad I did. I love Premier Combat Center. They have a bunch of great jiu-jitsu guys. They have a bunch of great boxers, a bunch of great fighters that they're still producing to come out of that are going to come out of that gym. It's just that we got 20-something guys signed to the UFC here, and it's just a different environment. Yeah. I feel like you have to put yourself through it to really understand.
Yeah, fucking Brian Jensen's 21-8. Like, Jesus, that's a great record. And Krause is like 28-8. another guy around here, LC Davis, is like 23-8. So
Some OGs.
if you're 20 plus,
But
20
all
plus,
tough fights,
all
all
tough,
tough
yeah.
fights, dude.
that's So
Yeah.
obviously that guy's a badass.
Yeah.
But like what was I gonna ask? Potential like your next fight's FAC, you think?
I think so. Yeah.
That's gonna be
Joe-
awesome.
I
Yeah,
think that's
Joe
a good
approached me.
fit.
It's a kind of a funny story because I've been fucking with Joe for so long,
Trying to get on.
trying to get on it.
Trying to get
He's
on.
like, "Are you gonna sell tickets?" And I'm like,
I hope.
"I'm from Omaha." I was like, "Not as many as like if I was from here." And
That's your
he's
hometown, right? Like,
yeah,
Omaha's
Omaha.
your-
Well, no, my hometown's Red Oak, Iowa. That's where I grew up. But I
Oh.
lived the last 5 years and coached
Yeah.
in Omaha and started training at Premier,
Okay.
like 5 years ago when I started training. So the last four and a half years I lived there.
Mhm.
And so I was like, I get to sell tickets, and it was just kind of swept under the rug. He's like, no, you're not gonna sell tickets, like, bro. It's like we don't make a lot of money on these shows, like blah blah blah. And then the other day, one of my good buddies back home was like, why don't you just fucking ask the guy how
Yeah.
many tickets do I need to sell? I was like, yeah, I probably should do that.
How
and,
many do you need to
like
sell?
how many
Like-
do I need to sell to fight on this show? Give me a number. And then so I'm like, hey Joe, and he knows every time I see him I'm asking him if I
Yeah.
can fight, put me on the show.
That's awesome.
And I'm fucking with him and Jay High because he's the welterweight champ. I'm like, me and Jay High next welterweight champ. I'm like, let's go, it's mine. I love Jay High, but
Yeah.
and so I'm always
Physical
fucking with him,
gift.
and I call him over to actually be serious, and this dude's like, no, you're not fighting on the next show. And I was like,
What the hell?
I was going to
Let me talk,
ask how
yeah.
many tickets do I actually need to sell? Because I got a guy willing to buy a table from Omaha already. I'll sell some cage side for my family. I'll sell, at B-dubs if I actually really, really wanted to. People are always like, you fight? Like, when's your fight?
Let me come
He's
see
like,
that
you
shit.
like your friend. I'm sure I could get people. Hey, get a group of people. I could sling tickets at working at a sports bar, bro.
Yeah.
And so I was like, why have I not been fucking doing this?
Yeah.
Retard. That's why I'm a fighter. And so, yeah, anyway.
Oh,
I-
that's another part of the business I forgot about.
I called him over and he's like, no, you're not fighting on my next show. I'm like, hear me out. I'm going to sell to you. He's like, well, we don't have tables. So it's all floor. And I was like, okay. But I showed interest that I was actually interested. And so he came up to me just this week, like a couple days ago, and was like, you still down for May 6th? And I was like,
Yes,
holy
baby.
shit,
I'll
you
come
Thank
to
you,
the-
Lord.
oh,
You're like-
you
yeah.
ask and you shall receive. So hopefully we get it out. He said he's gonna he'll find someone for me.
Bro.
I don't have a name yet, but at 170 at welterweight, it'll be
170.
my 170 debut. Hopefully, I was supposed to be this last fight, but people keep, it's a circus.
Was it did someone drop out of that fight and Kevin the Kangaroo stepped in?
Yeah,
Is that what
I
happened?
was supposed to fight at 170. I forget the guy's name, but I actually had it mapped out, which is crazy because usually all my fights are short notice bullshit. This is a circus show sometimes, but planned on fighting this guy, and then I think 2 weeks before he pulled out because of COVID, and didn't think I was fighting anymore, and then that's another reason why I didn't sell a bunch of tickets because people never know if I'm actually fighting or not,
Yeah.
and
Tough.
I think a week before, he's like, hey, I got a guy, but it'll be at 185. I said, perfect. I want to
Fuck
go to
it.
Texas Roadhouse.
Get some
food,
rolls.
Get some rolls.
For
Get
sure,
that
bro.
cinnamon butter. And so I was 180. Got to
Yeah.
180. Walking around, I was like, fuck it, it's 5 pounds. And
Mm.
and then he's like, hey, the day before your opponent just came in. He's a little heavy, so don't cut any weight. He's 190 right now. This is my manager I'm talking about.
That's
He's
annoying.
he's 190 right now, and I'm like, all right. I mean, I guess the guy, what was his record, like 7-10 or something?
He's
like
been around,
that.
yeah.
So- but yeah, he's a lot of fights, and he was a big athletic dude. I saw why they called him the Kangaroo. 'Cause he jumped but when they called his name, he jumped in the air almost out of the fucking octagon.
Signature.
And anyway, so I'm like, and we know he's going to be dangerous the first couple of rounds. I'm walking around at 180. I was like, all right. So I show up to weigh-ins, and this motherfucker's 205 pounds.
No.
Jeez.
And I'm like, holy shit, this is 205. But I mean, he looked out of shape. He wasn't some like big
You thought you could
tank,
take
like
him?
Yoel Romero looking motherfucker.
No.
But
You were gonna take. His
I was
ass.
definitely way more nervous. I was like, this is a grown 200. He's going to be 215 tomorrow. Like, he cut to be 205, and I'm walking around at 180. I waited in exactly what you're seeing me right now with pockets full of water, and just so that way commission would allow it. So I called James and I'm like, hey,
Should I take it?
the fucking guy's 205. What are we doing? He's like, no. What are we doing? Like directly at me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, like I came here to fight. Am I more nervous about it? Fuck yeah. I mean, the dude's 25 pounds heavier. I expected to fight at 170, and now I'm fighting at 205 all of a sudden. And I know he's dangerous in that first couple rounds because he's athletic. And so that it definitely made me nervous. But if you ask me, you know, I'm not gonna shy away. I'm here for it. I work hard, and it's time to come be one win closer to my goal, which is getting paid and being financially free, just like all of us want to be. You know, I'm not doing this for $500 fighting on Dynasty Combat Sports, which I love Dynasty Combat. They've raised me, you know, and they managed me for a reason. But I'm not doing this to make $1,000 extra here. I'm doing this to make
a living,
real money one day. So I said, you know, if you ask me, I want to do it. And he said, then that's it. Everything else.
Yeah, I can see that in you.
You know?
I definitely see it.
And I was like, okay, so we're going to do it. And the even shittier thing was I was getting paid ticket sales, which was my fault. I should have slung them a little bit more, but it was hard because I didn't know I had to fight. So whether I fought or not, I had the same pay that fight.
You didn't get, like, did he get any stipulations? Or
No, it was just a flat rate, you know.
Should have got half the purse.
So there was no purse. It was just, you know, half ticket sales. That was the agreement. And I was like, fuck, I could just walk away with this right now. You know, part of me was like, whether I fight or not, I made all the money right now. I just pocketed it at weigh-ins. But I wanted to be, you know, one win closer.
And you did it. You fucking did it. Like, for what was it, 44 seconds?
I paid an ear for it.
You're like,
zoom in on this one.
Yeah,
right
Darcy, zoom in on that shit,
look
buddy.
on my Instagram.
It's only a matter of time for that was going to be discussed.
Yeah,
might as well
hop on that.
It popped open, and I didn't even notice. Like, but when you're fighting 215-pound grown dudes and you get hit with a sledgehammer on the punches that come at you like this, it just
straight from the hip,
cut right open. I watch it even in the fight. I can't tell when it happened. People are like, "When did that happen?" I don't know. You don't fucking feel anything in fights,
you
bro.
You can just see the blood kind of coming out of it a little bit in the first round.
At what point did you realize that it was
after
gushing?
when I got back to the
corner?
No, I got back to the freaking locker room.
After
the fight, Jose comes in, my boxing coach. He's like, "Hey, you're gonna need that ear stitched up." I'm like, "My ear? What's wrong with my ear?" And he's like, "No, it's gonna need stitches." I was like, "All right." Didn't really think of anything. When I got back to the locker room, so I went in the mirror and looked at it, and the thing was just dangling there. It was just hanging there.
Jeez,
I was like, "Oh, what in the fuck, dude?" So yeah, it's just, adrenaline's a crazy thing.
Oh yeah,
adrenaline is a crazy thing.
That should hurt the days after.
You don't. No, the only thing that really hurt was getting it stitched up and like poked at and whatever right there after the fight, and was stung, and it was way uncomfortable for a couple days. I could only sleep on one side of my ear for like a month, for like a few weeks, because one thing about it is, when the doctor stitched it up, he's like, "You might need plastic surgery. The skin is so thin around your ear that it breaks open super easily. So like even just like barely hitting it, like even now, it's been a couple months.
Yeah.
If I grapple, I have to wear my headgear right now, and when my headgear brushes on it, it starts to, I can see the scar mark appear, and it starts to get all like bruised right there. I'm like, ooh, it's wanting to burst back open. So I'm being really careful with it right now, because it's still like, I feel like anytime in a fight, even 6 months from now, if it gets hit clean, it's busting back open.
So are you planning on getting that plastic surgery done, or
it'd be stupid to do right now?
Yeah.
But I mean, like, if I had to, I'm not really gonna have a choice. But for sure, after I'm done fighting, it's probably gonna be, my ears are already ugly.
You're just gonna have to fight a guy with your head turned to the side.
I know.
Just come at him straight.
Yeah. And the shitty thing is I do this a lot. Like, I roll with punches where, like, when I do get hit with punches, I don't get hit in the chin. I get hit in the side of the head. I'm like,
dude.
Fuck.
Damn.
That's gonna mess with me a little
can't
bit.
change, you know.
That's the boxer in you.
I roll with them, yeah. That's why I've been stuck on that cage my last 2 fights, man. Getting rolling with punches and getting teed off. Can't do that shit in MMA, man. Because my fight before this last one, tore my kidney, or lacerated my kidney, getting punched, like rolling and getting hit in the side. And I'm not getting hit clean to where I'm gonna get knocked out, but I'm getting fucked up.
Taking damage.
I'm going to the only 2 times I've ever been to the hospital after I fought were the last 2 fights. So
Well, good thing you put your dudes away quick.
It's definitely to my attention, and it's something to work on. So
I mean the ear, it can't be understated. It was pretty gross. Like it was looking like it was gonna fall. It was gonna fall off.
I'm gonna throw a picture up on the edit so people can see it.
Of the doctor, the doctor pulling it apart, and it's just like
it looked like it was gonna. You could pull your ear off.
Yeah, it's you know what? It's a good.
Like you just went around with Mike Tyson.
If you work at a sports bar, it's a pretty good conversation starter. People are like, you fight, and then it's probably gonna help me sell tickets. So like, I fight. I know my ears are ugly. So for sure, 25% of every four tables I have asked me if I'm an MMA fighter or a wrestler, and then the other 50%. I will see them looking at me, and while I'm talking to them, they're like just looking over at my ear. I can just see their eyes veering off to my ear as I'm looking at them. I'm like, I know. Yeah. It's ugly.
Damn.
Yeah.
No, it's a badge of honor. That's what it is.
A lot of people think it's cool, but I don't know. The ladies just think it's ugly. Yeah. So.
And that's the ladies are important. You know, as a single man.
The ladies are important.
But like, shit. What was I gonna say? Micah, what you got? Nothing. Okay,
ladies got on his mind, interrupted his train of thought.
I know you said ladies. I'm like,
don't say that.
Where did I go?
Oh god,
I'm taken. Don't say that to me, bro. I'll get in trouble.
But like you got the finish against the Kangaroo, and then against like all this stuff. I'm learning it now that you had to deal with a whole bunch of shit going into that.
I did want to ask you, bro. So I watched one of your fights. One of the weirdest fucking finishes I've ever seen is the dude that you beat where you just straight kicked his legs for like for a minute, dude. He just like wouldn't get up off the ground. He just kept smashing his legs, and they eventually called it. What was that like for you?
Yeah, he was a southpaw. I went southpaw. That was my first fight with Glory, and that was something we worked on actually is when you're fighting a southpaw, they're not used to getting that lead leg kicked. So I switched southpaw and I was kicking it, and I could tell from the first couple that they were hurting him. And I don't know, I thought he ended up, I didn't want to talk shit because I thought he ended up severely fucking up his knee, but then I saw he fought like a couple months later versus a buddy that I used to train with back in the day. I was like, oh, did that guy just go down because he's a pussy?
Soft.
I don't know.
Soft?
So I don't know. I don't want to take too much credit for it because he literally quit due to leg kicks.
I've never seen anybody wave their own fight off like that.
He went down, and then I was like, I call them fuck you kicks, where I'm just like, I don't care what they hit.
When he's on his back?
Yeah, he was on his back and holding his leg. Like, I think he realized that he was outmatched is what I think. He just
gave up.
He realized before I could put him away with a real finish that that was his way out. So I just said, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Were the kicks like,
it's over.
Were you like wanting him to stand up though so you could bang with him some more?
No, I want to get out of there.
Yeah.
Stay down. Let me just kick you. Call it. Hey, we're good. All right, next.
Yeah.
If I can get out of there, I'm gonna get out of there.
That's a weird way to finish a fight.
Finish, yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I finished a fight with fuck you kicks with a dude on his back. Like, you don't see that very often.
What's your relationship with like you mentioned Derek as well? Was Derek in your corner for the last fight?
Yeah, he's usually in my corner if he's not gone or cornering someone else. He has been. So yeah, he's probably cornered me every fight since I've been a pro for sure, and then probably my last couple as an amateur.
So you guys are pretty close relationship with Derek?
Yeah, for sure.
One of our first guests on the show was Derek Minner a couple years ago. So
I wasn't blessed enough to be around at those times.
Micah wasn't there yet. But he was back in Springfield. But what about Grant and Niall, like these other Nebraska dudes? Do you ever how close are you with those guys?
Closer to Niall now. He's trained with me in Omaha a few times before we both happened to move out here at the same time, and obviously we knew each other, and we become friends since we both train here now. But Grant I never knew until I came up here. And he's actually out in Florida now doing his thing out there at American Top Team, which I think is good for him.
Yeah, good on him.
I get that, the whole stigma behind, he was born and raised through here and came up with James. I get that. But I think change is good for every fighter, no matter what level. At a certain point.
It wasn't like a weird move. It was just, it made sense for his career.
It felt right. It didn't feel like fuck you or anything like
No,
that
it's
to
like,
us. And you
yeah.
could tell like it bothered him, like he didn't want to leave, you know, and he
Yeah.
likes
Career move,
liked everyone
for
here,
sure.
but it's a power move, man. He's gonna go do great things.
Mhm.
So I'm excited to see how that unfolds. And he's posting pics, training with
Masvidal.
Masvidal
Yeah,
and
that's
all those
dope.
guys. Like, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah, it's
just
just tough.
go out there and do your thing and show who you are and be that Star Wars nerd that we all know you are. We all know you are out there with those guys and kill it, man.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, so let's tell me about the Ronnie Forney story.
Ronnie Forney was no, yeah, dude, that's when I knew that fighting was for me. Is my second pro fight, right? That I was 1-0. I went, and that was when I was at Factory X. I had a perfect camp, 6 weeks, training with killers, doing my thing. It was the most confident I'd probably ever been up to this day before a fight. And I really liked the matchup, and not to talk too much shit, but fuck you, we were fighters. I feel like I beat him 9 out of 10 times any given day, and twice on Sunday. But after that happened, and he came out and starched me in 10 seconds, and I had to, it hurt for a couple days, but and Monday I was back in the gym training. My doctor was like, hey, what the fuck you doing, bro? You just got like clipped. You have a concussion. You need to cool it with working out even. And I was smashing pads. I was motivated as shit. Camp come Monday to get back in and get better. And that's when, as I look back at it, I feel like that was a defining moment in my career. I knew that the worst thing possible that could have happened in my career, the most ready I ever was, the most confident I ever was. You can ask my coaches in the back. I was like, didn't do much of a warm-up. I was like, no, bro, I'm going to fucking kill this guy. Watch. Like, ready to show him the work that I've been putting in. And as soon as he came out and laid me out and stole the show in 10 seconds, like, I sulked about it for a day or two, but I was so motivated. Like, even talking about it now just kind of like gets me into it. And that's when I was like, all right, it's a wrap. I'm doing this.
Were you okay with the stoppage? I know I watched the fight, and I thought it was a little quick, because I thought as soon as you hit the ground, you kind of got back up and you were starting to scramble a little bit to get back to your feet. But
yeah,
It's a little quick.
When I look back at it, I of course I'm gonna say it was early because I was scrambling to get back up, but I get why it was stopped because of the way I fell. But in my opinion, the reason I felt like that is because he hit me right as I was going to throw a hook, and I was stepping with my left foot out to the left. So right when he hit me, like if he would have hit me with that shot, it would have been like my knees gave out, I went down, and I was scrambling to get up, because right when I hit the ground, I was working to get back up. But since he happened to hit me right as I was kind of feeling the fight out on my back foot, went to hook out to the left, and his little hammer arm came around and caught me perfect, like zig when I should have zagged to a T, and caught me. The reason it was stopped is because of the way I fell. So I see why it was stopped. I don't have like, and I've gotten over it. I think it was an early stoppage just because I know that if it would have hit me without me moving, it would have been, just someone getting dropped and scrambling back up on a single leg. And he was hitting me with these little fucking jerk off when I was trying to get up, and I was like, bro, and none of them were hitting me either. In fact, I got up with him and the ref on top of me. I fucking got up with 2 guys who were trying to hold me down. And so if I could have it back, I would, but it was a defining moment in my career for sure, because I was so motivated. I came back in that month or the couple weeks that I couldn't do anything after that fight. Killed me, man. It's like, this is all I want to do. And when I can't train or do anything, but I felt like I was in good health, I was just
you did get it back. You avenged it.
I did.
Tell us about that. Tell us about the second fight.
Like, you really only have one loss because you beat the guy who beat you after. So
like I said, 9 times out of 10,
literally.
and I beat the shit out of him, and I looked terrible doing it too. And if I had to pick a fight where win or lose, I looked the worst. It was my second fight with Ronnie. I came out with a flying knee. I just posted a picture yesterday.
Tough.
You guys see that picture on Facebook I just posted?
Yeah, I did. Because you posted you have fight news coming up with that picture.
Cup in the back of his head, and it looks like I'm just teabagging there. I came out with a flying knee, and it was just like I was trying too hard for the takedown because I had been working my grappling a lot right before that fight. And so I was trying too hard to get that takedown instead of just using my hands to set it up. I was just in, boom, in, and everyone that knew me was like, bro, it looked like you never struck before a day in your life. And I was like, yeah, it was pretty bad. But even on my worst performance, ended up in ground and pounding and TKOing him in the first round.
Your ground game was great in that fight.
Yeah.
It was
Do you think that you were maybe just feeling a little bit of the effects of the first fight, so you were just wanting to get it back so bad that you kind of just went away from like your traditional?
I'd be lying if I said it wasn't in the back of my head. It was, and I really wanted that fight back. First of all, I was asking for it. I was like, hey, what the fuck is to get Ronnie Forney back out here? He's probably sitting on his couch somewhere drinking beer. Throw his fucking ass in here when I needed somebody. And then I got the call, one day. And they're like, hey, you're fighting next week. You got an opponent. And I was like, really? Who might this be? And he's like, guess. And he didn't even have to say. I fucking hung up the phone. I was like,
go, dude.
That's like a clip right there.
So, it was. I was at the gym, and Derek was there. I fucking took off. I'm like, that's fine. I was pumped. Anyways, I was pumped to get it back. But then, I'd be lying if it didn't cross my mind. Like, what the fuck? If this guy comes out and catches me again.
Damn it, bro.
Yeah.
He'd be the bane of your existence.
Yeah, I'm notorious for overthinking shit,
Better to do that than underthink it.
I will never lie about that. That's one of my biggest things. And something I'm really, really working on is just I just want to come out and be me. I want to be organic. I want to talk shit to people, not because like I want to come out and just have we just talked about it today. Kraus was talking to us in the team after practice today about finding your swag and being organic. And I said, for me, that's coming out and talking shit and having fun. That not talking shit because I care about you or the person I'm fighting. It's just when I start talking and doing that, I settle in and it takes my mind off of, holy shit, I'm fighting in front of a bunch of people. I could lose. I could, the things that you overthink as a fighter. When I'm out there having fun, like I'm having fun, more fun when I'm talking shit and taking it off of like, I want to beat the shit out of this guy and he's trying to take everything I'm working for. So
definitely.
That's what I'm really trying to do right now is be more organic is what Kraus was saying and find my swag because I have a lot of it. I have a lot of swag when I'm training. Everyone will tell you at the gym, I need to get in the UFC and get more of these cameras on me so I can talk shit to someone else besides my teammates. Because I do love those guys, but you would think the way I talk to them, I fucking hate them. I'm like, what you looking at, pussy? Like, let's go then. And then we actually go because they're pissed. And I'm like, bro.
So do you think hitting that next level mentally is going to be the breakthrough that you need to get to the UFC?
It is 100%. I know I'm there. My skill level is top. I belong in the UFC. I know that for a fact. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think that because this is a crazy sport and very stressful sport. And you're not doing it for money. I'll say, any fighter would be the first one to tell you that. But I know I'm there, and I know the strides that I've made in the last couple years mentally. And if I even go way back, I say way back, but when I first started training 5 years ago,
that's when you first had any MMA training.
Yeah, and I never had any wrestling. Wow. No, I've never even been in a fucking street fight before.
Damn.
And so I've never not.
Darcy's been in 30.
Yeah, Darce Choke. That's how he got his name. That's how he got his name, the Darce Choke.
Darcy, you Darcing people in the street?
That's what I'm saying.
You're
bro, have you ever seen the video?
Own it,
Darcy.
Have you ever seen the video of the guy that comes up to Ryan Hall while he's eating at a Chinese restaurant, and the dude's drunk? He's talking shit to Ryan Hall.
Ryan Hall puts him
drags
away.
him out, drags his ass out to the parking lot, chokes his ass to sleep in front of everybody.
I thought he did it right there on the floor of the restaurant.
I think the dude left the restaurant and came back in
video.
and started talking shit. So Ryan Hall's like, all right, I'll meet your ass out here and night.
Tourette's and all, just blinking him to death. I feel like that. I feel like that'd be very distracting fighting Ryan Hall. He's just blinking at you at 1,000 miles an hour. You're like, okay,
and the way he looks, you're just like, oh, I'm gonna fuck this.
So uninterested.
And then the dude just makes it look easy and is smiling at you while you're trying your hardest to survive, and you're like, what the fuck? Am I really that much of a pussy?
Yeah, literally looks like a
Yeah.
math teacher from Ohio, but he'd fucking kill you.
Derek, that was Derek's last fight against
Yeah.
Ryan Hall, and he did well against Ryan Hall on the ground for sure.
Yeah, he held his own. I think that he, I'm not gonna speak for him, but personally, when I watched it, I felt like he was trying to show too much that he could
Yeah.
hold him.
hang.
Like,
He
we all
wanted
knew,
to hang.
like you can hang, dude, but like,
Win the fight.
yeah,
bro.
there's
Yeah.
a win. Go win. That dude
Stand up with
deserves
that
to
dude,
win.
yeah.
How many pro fights do you have? How long did it take him to get here? I know what he's been through.
Yeah.
I know his skill level. I see what he does, and so I would really like to see him stick to the game plan a little bit more and get that win. But
Yeah. Shit happens, bro. I mean, fuck
it's
it.
a fight game.
Have
you
you in the
had-
moment, dude, and then it passes, and then it's
Yeah.
like, fuck. Well, I could have done
So-
this, or I could have done that, but
Yeah, you're all chasing that like flawless victory. I feel like that's the
Mm.
ultimate goal for like not
Has
the
to
not
be.
the ultimate goal, but maybe for a fighter, it's just like you want that perfect performance where everything just clicks, like you jumped on the guy at the right moment. Is that like, have you found that yet? Have you had that at all, or were you close
The
at
fight
any
I
moment?
felt like I had the most swag and I felt the best about. I actually lost as an amateur.
Okay.
I fought Harris Talunzik, who's a 170. He actually trains up at Factory X now. And it was for a 170 title, and he was like 6-1 or 7-1, and I was way underdog, and I knew that I truly believed that I was gonna win that fight. And I think what I learned from that is when I'm an underdog, I feel like I have more swag about me.
Less pressure
I
on
want
you.
to less pressure. And it's pressure that I put on myself
Mhm.
100%.
definitely.
But when I'm the underdog, or when I feel like I should lose, which hasn't been recently, in my opinion, I feel like that's when I come out and perform the best, because I'm one of those people, like, I want to show off.
Mhm.
I want people to be like, oh, you count me out, watch this
Yeah.
shit. So that fight, I had the most fun. I was talking shit. Anytime he, threw a strike and missed, I was pointing at him. I was talking shit.
What,
he
bitch?
he
What?
took my back. He owned me on the ground. I had no wrestling, no jiu-jitsu at the time, and I knew he was in my head. I was like, he ain't gonna submit me. We got up to start round 2, and he was tired, and I was like up bouncing around looking at him before the second round. And I was like, let's go, bro. Like, round 2, and came out, started piecing him up in round 2 with strikes, and then I think right as he was fading, and then he took me down,
Got you
and,
down.
and then I got, and he got the rear naked choke on me. The only time I've ever been submitted, I think, in a fight. And I was like, fuck. And I just felt like I left so much out there because I wasn't tired at all. But I think that's because I was having fun, man. I
Mhm.
wasn't like nervous.
Yeah.
I felt good. And if I find that swag right now, because I'm 10 times better
Oh,
than when I fought.
And then you're selling all the fucking tickets, and you don't got to worry about that.
And
shit.
I'm an entertainer. Like, I'm gonna be the first ginger champion.
Bro.
Rock out my
dude.
Hey,
You'll be my fucking hero, bro. I swear to
I
God.
think I'm gonna walk out with a ginger pride flag to the UFC in my debut,
Bro.
and probably rock with it the whole time.
just bring
And,
awareness,
Anyway, that's
You're
just
like-
what I want to do. I want to be entertaining. I want to be a fighter that everyone wants to watch. And if I find my swag, I know I'm gonna do. I know it's game over.
I'm getting
and
a
I
fat
will.
head of you in my house, bro.
I
if
will
that
find my
happens.
swag. Like, don't get me
Me
wrong.
too.
I will do it.
I know you
If
will,
if
bro.
it's something I
believe
want to
in it.
do, I will do it. So
I can feel it. I can feel it.
I feel it too. Have you had any
it coming.
in the
Fuck.
air tonight?
No, I
Weekend,
feel
bro.
it coming,
Man.
babe.
Oh, is that
No,
Bruno
it's
Mars?
just-
No, it's the weekend, bro. See,
Same. They literally look and sound the exact same.
Wow,
almost.
that's
Actually, that was
incorrect.
controversial.
Incorrect.
That was controversial.
You see, Darcy knows.
That was controversial. What I just said.
yeah, it was
Sorry.
controversial.
Bruno Mars and
Got-
Weeknd sound
gonna
the
have to-
same.
gonna
I
have to
take
cut-
that completely back. I
Gotta
didn't say
cut it
that.
out, bro. Jeez.
So yeah, I get excited talking about it. I'm
Yeah.
ready. I'm ready to roll. I'm ready for a step up in competition. I'm ready to go FAC.
You're getting it fucking May 6th,
That's a
baby.
good. That's a
I
good
am.
step though. FAC's
Let's go.
FAC's a good step. It's like obviously you're in Kansas City, so it's the perfect spot for it.
Yeah.
And in the wake of Dana White looking for a fight, I'm sure FAC's gonna have a lot of eyes on him now. It's a perfect step up.
And you know what?
It's crazy. Like Kansas City is the
The
fucking
trifecta?
Bring him in here, bro. Bring him in here.
Well,
The
we got our
Ginger.
We got our third.
come on
ginger.
in,
You're all
bro.
Come
in
on.
danger
You
if
wanna
you
come
get
in?
The
to my-
third ginger. Let's
This
go.
This is our normal
The
co-host,
J
Blake.
Let's go.
trifecta, baby. Let's go.
Blake, you have
Hey,
What's up,
there's
man?
an impromptu question for Ryan? Anything you got?
I gotta get back to the show.
there's a
Okay.
lot of
Ginger
One
power.
question, what does it feel like to be the trifecta?
Hold up. I don't know, man. You gotta
there's a lot of
take your hat off.
I'm rusty.
there's a lot of sparks flying in here right now.
See,
Are you faking, bro?
We'll let it pass. I'll call you a ginger, but he's not. He's not as ginger as I
That's what I'm
thought.
saying,
We're
yeah.
ginger.
Yeah, he's not a
But
real one. You guys are
Fake,
definitely
dude.
real. I feel like
Fake,
the
bro.
real ones.
I'm
We know what
staring
we
at a
went
mirror.
through in childhood.
Bro, my skin is transparent.
Fire
bro.
crotch.
My skin is
fucking-
transparent,
bro.
bro. Look,
Getting called Ronald McDonald Clifford Fire Crotch
You
by
fucking
kids like
name
you
it, dude.
wearing your cool jackets and watches and shit.
mhm.
And now you think we're cool, but back then you thought we were fucking prime meat to
Dude,
we, were
make fun
target,
of.
we had a fat fucking
Look at you
target
guys
on our
now,
back.
man.
Yeah,
Look
look
at
at
us
us
now,
now.
I'm happy for
My
you
man.
guys. Have you had any like UFC corner experience? Have you ever been to Vegas?
I've never been to a UFC fight.
Dude.
I've watched every single one there is to be watched. I've
you-
never
were you-
been to
me
one.
too.
Were you a big fan growing
Yeah,
up?
no, not really. I in high school, the first MMA fight I ever watched, a striker. He got my buddy. He got me into the fights. He had fights at his house one night, and it was Overeem versus Bigfoot Silva.
God.
I don't know who else was on the card. I just know
Mm.
that was the first ever fight card I ever watched, which probably wasn't that long ago.
Did fucking Bigfoot win that fight?
Bigfoot won that
That's
fucking
kinda-
fight.
kinda
And you
crazy,
know
bro.
what? The first fight I saw was just some big. It was Ubereem on the roids
Yes.
at that time,
Horse meat.
and this some big ugly Bigfoot Silva dude knocks him out and yells at him, and I'm like, oh
Damn,
my
dude.
god, that shit is fucking. I want to do it.
You're like, this is all.
Yeah, he's the man. He's the man.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of just an outlet for me because I
I
wasn't
feel that.
gonna keep doing football and basketball, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'll stay in shape,
That's
and
dope.
now it's all I want to do.
And they're both still fighting, which is kind of crazy. I think
Are
they're
they?
both active.
well,
Bigfoot
Overeem can do
Bigfoot has
roids
a
again,
fight,
so
and
he's in there for
no,
another couple of years.
Bigfoot
Yeah.
Silva
I think, is he Bellator?
in the UFC,
not in the UFC.
Is he
He's-
Bellator?
No,
LFA?
he had
BKFC or something.
I want to say he had like a Triller Triad thing coming up.
That doesn't
I could
surprise
see
me.
They moved that back
He's a-
to May because Muhammad Zolak was supposed to be on that.
He's a big motherfucker, bro. Bigfoot, I mean,
Bo?
obviously.
Oh,
Not
Bigfoot.
yeah.
I was like-
Mo's pretty big too.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
pretty Jewish. I think you
I was
should
just giving him
corner.
shit today for being small.
I'm dead.
I think you should be cornering Carl. I feel like you guys have a good dynamic. And March 12th, like you could be talking shit to Carl, leading up to the fight.
Hey, do what you do to me when you fuck me up in training. Yeah,
Yeah.
that shit works.
Yeah.
Throw that freaking left kick.
And like that's,
Carl's got some nasty kicks.
yeah.
Yeah, that boy's scary. He's
Yeah.
scary.
I can't wait for
Smash
that fight
Bros.
with him.
I've
and
trained
Khalil
with a lot of
Roundtree.
That's gonna
high-level
be a
guys,
fucking-
a lot of high-level kickboxers, and Carl. It's just like he throws to hurt you. You know, it's like, and I watched his little show with you guys. He explained it perfectly. He's like, when you're fighting him, like he's
You're
real.
in trouble.
He's coming to kill you, and it does fuck with fighters.
You feel it.
and
Like-
you feel that presence. So him and Roundtree's a great fight. I'm really looking forward to it.
It's coming up.
I just think it's a great stylistic matchup for
Mm-hmm.
our man Carl. Shout out Carl.
I think
you
the
know,
thing that surprised me most about Carl is how fucking fast his kicks are. Dude.
he's fast. He's fast.
He's so fast.
Twitch. He's vicious. Like mean. Like man. I'm excited to watch him go to work and,
Yeah, that's a
and watch
banger.
it and be like, okay, now I don't feel as bad that I was, getting my ass whooped.
Mm.
through training
Glory
with him.
really is on the up
Yeah.
and up right now, dude.
They're
That
come
shit's
up,
kinda crazy.
baby. You're a part of it. You're on the
No,
part
I
of it.
You
feel
are,
like
bro.
I love seeing everybody get signed. And through FAC, I love watching all my teammates get up there, and it's just motivating to me. Like I know I'm next. I'm next in line.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see what even when I first came here, almost a year ago. I think Glory
When
only had like 10
yeah.
UFC guys, 8 to 10, and we've like doubled since I've gotten here. And all the guys that I'm training with, giving shit to, just to see all my friends and training partners get signed and do their thing and
And that's you next.
make
yeah.
waves. It's
It is.
so motivating to me. Like I know I'm in the right spot.
At the
you
right
know the
time,
saying
too.
that you hang around the barbershop long enough, eventually you're gonna get a cut. Like
Yeah.
I'm next.
Yeah.
My friends are killers. I don't hang around bums. I don't hang around.
It's literally
right,
a matter of
you know?
time before almost everybody
It's
in
like
that room is signed.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. But I think it's been a great interview with you, Ryan. I appreciate you coming on so much.
Yeah, man.
I want to ask my last question, and Mike, if you have anything else. Is Sean O'Malley the best striker in the UFC?
You motherfucker! You fucking
How
who
dare
told you this shit? Who told you to
Oh,
ask
my-
this?
Talk to this.
I saw
motherfucker.
it. I saw it.
Oh, we were just out at lunch today, talking with Melina and Kraus, and I just had. It was all good, I was sitting there doing thing. I'm not gonna bring it up. I'm not gonna bring it up. I'm not gonna bring it up. We started talking about 35ers, and I was like, "Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it." And finally, I was like, fuck Sean O'Malley's the greatest motherfucker of all time. Let's go.
Couldn't fucking control yourself.
I just like, but yeah, at this point, I just like kind of picking at him. I do believe he's one of the best strikers.
It's not a bad
in the
take. I'm going to
UFC.
say it. It's
Do
not a
I
bad
think
take.
he's ever going to be a champion or anything? Probably not. There's guys that are really bad stylistic matchups for him, and
Yeah.
we're yet to see how good of a grappler or anything like that he really is. But man, I still think people are underlooking how good of an actual pure striker he is, and I'll defend that till the day I die. I don't care.
Me too. I agree with you. That's why I
do
was
not
excited to
agree.
ask you.
I don't even think
defend
he's the best
that.
striker in his division.
You know, I've been arguing with people. I have been
Peter
saying
Yan.
Piotr Yan.
Yeah. Even Sandhagen's up there with him.
Piotr Yan would beat, Sean O'Malley, but I think that Sean O'Malley's a better striker.
I
think
he's
Yeah,
just
bro, get on the fucking train, dude.
he's
I
just
know,
on
dude. You just tried to spark up a whole nother hour of conversation. I could talk about this shit
I
all
did.
day.
I don't have any questions, but one thing I like to do is get a little video of all the boys in here. Darsh Chucks,
Is that camera
You're
big
on here.
enough to get these
That's what I'm
freaking things
saying.
in there?
Let's go, baby.
Just
Episode
probably
3.
not.
Wanted to get one
I
for
said
the
episode
Instagram
3.
real
Episode
quick.
7.
yeah.
Good shit, baby.
Okay, before we hop out, do you want to give him his? We never fucking do it on camera. Do you want to give him his?
Yeah, but hey, Darce, will you help me out a little bit?
Choked right now? Is that
yeah,
what's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
fucking
He's
happen?
actually gonna come in here and put you to sleep
Bullshit.
right now.
Bring me the Batman thing.
Oh my.
Yeah, he's actually coming in here to put your ass to sleep.
Yeah, man.
Right now.
Shit, we went for an hour, dude. Like, that was...
I know,
It was
dude.
awesome.
I'm one of those people. I
That's
get
cool
off
with me,
topic.
bro.
Sometimes
I
you
don't
gotta
care, man.
you gotta keep me
I
on
love
topic
it.
because
Here we
I'll
go.
just keep talking
I don't even
about
know.
shit
I don't even know
all
what
the
this
time.
is. So I'm pretty pumped to see
So
it.
we like to give our guests a gift every time, and I want to protect those ears, and like you've got great hair, and
Let's
so
fucking go.
I got you a Batman
like a onesie.
when you get out of the shower, you can protect your hair and protect your
Let's go,
ear
dude.
Oh
and
my god!
put that over your head
and I'm
because.
not putting this on right now.
Yeah, that's
you're
fine.
not getting me on the
You're like-
fucking show wearing this thing.
But that's for you, man.
Hell yeah,
I
man!
appre-
I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
of course. I appreciate you coming on, and that's for your hair, for
I'm
your
glad I could
ears.
come here and bless you all with my presence. It's
That's
been
right.
wonderful. It's been
Yes.
real.
I can't wait
First
for
Ginger
May
UFC
Hell
6th.
yeah.
champion. Let's fucking
So,
go, dude.
Right on, man. Anytime. I'm open.
May
Let's do it.
6th, Ryan Leininger is coming for. He's showing Kansas City what's up. We're gonna start learning about this guy a lot more. And 7-2, 7 finishes. I said in the beginning, you're an MMA fan's dream. I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you, Darcy. Appreciate you, co-host tonight, Micah, wearing those pants very nicely.
Thank you.
Tune in next week. We got another fighter in, and we'll see you guys then.
Love you,
Peace.
Blake. Thank you for letting me sit in your seat.
Love you, Blake.